Hey you guys, this is Crystal. I just wanted to get on here today and talk a little bit about domestic abuse because domestic abuse in Oklahoma, we have several times ranked #1 in domestic abuse. We're in the top 10. We have been in the top 10 since I think it was 1996. But it can happen anywhere. It can be men, women, it doesn't matter. A lot of people think, oh, well, men are not going to get beat by their women. But let me tell you, I seen an instance yesterday right at my mom's apartment. And where the woman knocked the man down. And he was like, I would say 56 or 57 years old. And pulled a knife on him. And he had told the officers that that wasn't the first time, that it's happened before. But she's got mental illness. Okay. You guys, I know a lot of people have mental illness. I have mental illness, but I don't go around, beating people, trying to kill people or whatever. To me, if they're that bad, they may need to be locked up in a mental hospital or something else because they're a danger to society. They're using too much of this mental illness for a lot of the things that are going on in the world today, and I don't believe that it's cause for mental illness. It's just what they choose to do. They know right from wrong. They're not, stupid or whatever. They know what they're doing. They're just using mental illness as an excuse to get by with things. So about 14, 15 years ago, I was abused, severely abused. I was beat in the head. As you all know, I've told you that I have memory loss. I was beat in the head. I was bit. I was, you name it, and it probably happened to me. So I was going to be cut up and put in the hog burner, is what it came down to. I escaped. The perpetrator was caught and everything. I don't want to go into too much detail about it because I get emotional and stuff talking about it. But, so I did get out of the situation. The perpetrator was later released from prison, and he was murdered. Not by me or, anything to do with me or nothing like that. But, from somebody in a different country, let's just say that. So it wasn't nowhere around here. When this happened to me, this domestic abuse, I was extremely paranoid. I wouldn't go anywhere by myself to the store or anything. I always had to have somebody with me. I was always watching, constantly looking behind me. If anybody would even raise up their hand, I would raise up my hand, like I'm shielding myself because I thought I was going to get hit. It took years of therapy for me to overcome a lot of, the domestic abuse stuff. And I'm not completely over it. I still go to therapy, and I still see a psychiatrist. I have PTSD. I have anxiety. I have depression, and, I have mental illness. And I'm not afraid to say it. A lot of people have mental illness these days. It seems like it's on the rise. But a lot of people don't want to talk about their situation that, that they've been in. And I just want to throw that out there, and that it's not only women, it's men too. Because I've seen it happen, and, in men also. So what I'm trying to get across here is just, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Everything may look fine on the outside, but at home it's a totally different story. They are usually narcissists. They try to lie, hide everything that they do. A lot of times they will leave bruises where nobody can see them, so they can, cover them up. They will, good manipulators, really good manipulators. Controlling. I'm trying to think of what else just right off the top of my head. But you guys, it's not just in Oklahoma, it's in all states. It really is in all states. There's, my oldest daughter is also a domestic abuse survivor. And she has been to events for domestic abuse and everything. And a matter of fact, her fiance that she's with now was really abusive to her. They both were real bad on drugs. And he was really abusive. And the last time the DA ended up picking up charges. And he's Indian, so I guess it went through the tribe. I'm not sure how they do that. But anyways, charges were picked up. And it's been 2 years of him going to classes and all of this and court and all of that. She didn't file charges. They picked up the charges. They have both been clean almost 2 years. He's not violent towards her. It was the drugs, was making him that way. She was also a mean, she wasn't mean, she was real mouthy, all mouth, type of person, hateful talking and stuff. Drugs can cause it. A lot of times it's drugs or alcohol. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that because it's really been bothering me, about this domestic abuse, and then me seeing the incident of the woman pushing the man down yesterday, and then pulling a knife on him, and of course the cops were called out and everything, and she was arrested for domestic abuse on him. So you guys, it's everywhere. It's in every state, every town, man or woman. It doesn't discriminate. Domestic violence is all over. And like I said, I know some people may say, oh, my son wouldn't hit his wife, or you don't never know. You never know until that time comes what's going, you could sit there all day and be like, he's the nicest person, he would never do that. But behind closed doors, you don't know what goes on. You don't know when you get in them kind of arguments, what the woman may hit the man or the man hit the woman, and that's domestic abuse. And there's also verbal abuse, where they tear you down, you're ugly, you're fat, you're short, you're tall, you're whatever, you're lazy, that's verbal abuse. That is verbal abuse. There's all different types of abuse, and I didn't know all of this until my middle daughter was getting a divorce, about all the different types of abuse, even though it's not, there's psychological, there's verbal, there's mental abuse, there's physical abuse, there's all different types of abuse. It's not just one type of abuse, but you can always get out. Now let me tell you, I got out 3 or 4 times and kept going back. And people always say, why do you go back? Why do you go back? Because you think they're going to change. You think you can change them, but you can't, because they're just destined to be that way. I mean, if they're that way, they're going to continue to be that way 9 times out of 10. If it's drugs or something, and they get off of drugs, they may change, but most of the time, they do not change. My daughter's fiance is the only one that I have ever seen that changed from being a violent person. And let me tell you, he was and he was mean. Me and him went up against each other with the cops there, and he was going to fight me with, and I was going to, he hit my daughter, so of course I was fixing to attack, The cops were there, got in between us, but that's just how he was, he was on drugs, and when you're on drugs, you're crazy. And you don't realize what you're doing a lot of times, and you're really strong, when you're on drugs, like you could really hurt somebody worse than in your normal state. So I just wanted to get on here and talk about domestic abuse. Let me know in the comments if you've ever experienced any kind of domestic abuse in your life. And hopefully we can talk more about this later on, or let me know if it's something that you don't want, to discuss. This was my one of the main reasons why I started this channel, because I wanted to talk about domestic abuse and sexual abuse, because both of those I have been through. But I never had the courage to say, to come out and say everything, that has happened to me. And that's why I have my PTSD and everything that I do have is caused from what happened to me as a child and into my adulthood. So, God bless. You all have a wonderful day and stay safe.